Welcome to the Evening Review. My name is Sohana Klare. Joining me in studio is former City of Windhoek councillor for the Popular Democratic Movement, Mr. Ignatius Semba. But before we go into that interview, please have a look at today's front page. Welcome to the Evening Review.
Yeah, thank you so much. Good evening, Namibia.
Yeah, last year we had the local and regional authority elections. Prior to that, were primaries that various parties held. Your party not being also being part of that process where people had candidates had to be sent to stand. You were a noticeable exclusion from that list to represent Windhoek. Why do you think, or to represent your party on the Windhoek Council? Why would you think that was the case?
Yeah, thank you so much. I think the party like ours is a democratic organization. I think last year a number of things happened. The party have introduced new systems of selecting of candidates, etc., which included interviews and so on. And the process went, and I think we had learned a number of things from the system that you used last time, hoping that that system will never repeat itself because it had a number of shortcomings. But nevertheless, we are happy that the party have a representative in that council, and we are hoping that and trust that he is occupying the seat of the deputy mayor. You must also understand that we have come a very long way, where we have been part and parcel of the rank and file of the party, and during the processes of competing against each other in the internal elections, you build sometimes thick skin that people find it difficult to be able to control you the way they want to support a candidate or another candidate. But I think at the end of the day, we are happy that the party at least have a representative.
Okay. Your exclusion, do you think it had anything to do with your ethnicity or your tribe?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, you must also understand one thing. The exclusion came as a result of a number of factors. I think it has nothing to do with ethnicity, but I think it has come as a result because of the leadership had a very serious problem because they had when the President Venani competed against Honorable Kaura, I was one of the colleagues who have supported, obviously, former President Kaura on that particular instance. And since then, these people have never recovered from that. Whoever where Kaura came needed to be taken out of the party. As far as I'm concerned, you don't find most of the Kaura former or people who were supporting Kaura during that time again in the party anymore. So that tells you that it is those type of things. I think for the past 5 years I have done notably good enough. We have saved the party in various capacity. So I think a few of the successes that we have managed to do as a council, one notable thing is that you must understand that you are the only person representing your organization, where another party would have 12 candidates from the same party running the whole management committee. So the environment is very hostile and harsh. But I think it was notable that we were taking decisions, we were taking the ruling party to task, we were making sure that the council is transparent, we are serious. Well, I think we have seen that the type of job that we have done for the past 5 years, we have changed the face of the city and so on.
Sure. On that score, Mr. Semba, wanted to ask, you had a dominance of the council, the previous council now, not the current one, it was dominance predominantly by SWAPO. To what extent do you think that has led to the initiatives that were brought to council by PDM going unnoticed?
Yeah, I think you must understand one thing. Democracy is a very expensive exercise. I think because you are one or two, people sometimes doesn't take you serious, especially when you are only 3 from the opposition. And people take decisions that they feel, no, on this particular point we don't need to negotiate, we are just going out there and vote. Let's practice democracy by voting, and not necessarily every time that voting is the right tool to use. There are a number of other tools that one can use. So I think there were a number of good initiatives that we have bring. The party manifesto were very clear on a number of issues like one Namibian, one plot, the issue of the issue of making sure that the owners of people that are living in the informal settlement get those pieces of land where they are residing and so on. One family, one toilet, etc. But we couldn't implement most of these things because when you bring the initiative, people will look at you and say, but where is he from? If he's from opposition, obviously we shoot that one down, and primarily some way, somehow we bring the item. It's just the same item in a different fashion. So that was the way I think how they have dealt with the number of issues.
If one looks at the work done by the previous council or at the relations, you would have, and it would seem as if there was particular support behind the former CEO, Mr. Robert Kaimise. On the other hand, there was support behind current City Police Chief Abraham Kanime. Do you think that despite the political affiliations that were present within that council, at times tribal issues or people or councillors voted along tribal lines and just say, okay, party manifesto one side, this is the agenda and this is what we are going to do?
Yeah, no, definitely. You must also understand one thing that as a person, I think when we were there, we were trying to make sure that we are not playing the players, but we are playing the ball. We find ourselves in a situation where the tribal issues have taken the peak of the council. Remember, if you don't have a chief executive officer in the office because of the scramble between trying to do the right thing and not the other way around, you have a city police who has no police chief because the police chief has been suspended. The safety of residents is in limbo. So that already tells you how you are seeing things. And we have really tried to manage, and we have also made sure that colleagues, when we are running, and that is the message that is very fundamental. When you are sitting in a public office, you must know that you are taking decisions that are affecting the life of the people. Now, one critical area where I think the Namibians are going wrong is that you elect a person into power. And these people have, first and foremost, a legal team inside. They can also utilize legal opinion outside. But they opt not to use them. But decided to say, let's go for majority and re-recruit a person who have personally, voluntarily resigned and had put in his resignation, and the effect of 90 days have taken place. But people look at this thing as it was Oshuambos up against Herreros, etc., etc. But that was not the case. I think fundamentally we need to understand that when we were there, we were under oath. And when we are under oath, we are talking about, first and foremost, we are going there to protect and defend the Constitution, the laws of this republic. That is the reason why we are going there. Now, whoever is not following that Constitution, that very Constitution that we have decided to say, that is the one that we want to protect, then we will have a fundamental problem. And that is where I think where we went wrong. We even called the president to intervene because we have realized that the thing went out of hand. We have tried to use the internal means. It has given me no other option than taking the council to court. I have applied for what we call an agent court application. It was dismissed. I get the cost. And then I have then put in another case. With that case, we have, that was the one who was recently in the papers, that we were very serious, and then we have won that case. Of saying whoever need to be recruited need to follow the letter. It's not you are the chief, so automatically when you are bringing back, we are just extending the contract without following the rules and the regulations of local authorities.
So that's why what you say motivated your decision to take, to challenge the appointment of City Police Chief Abraham Kanime.
No, yeah, definitely. I think sometimes we must understand that you take a poor person money that is paying for water and electricity, which is a basic service for that matter, and you are more than ready to pay one individual more than $200,000 per month, but knowingly that you are not taking the right decisions. Legally, your decisions are wrong, plus also what is also very wrong. My problem were nothing to do with Tatekanime as a head of the chief police personally. It has to deal with the principle. It was a principal issue that when we are running local government, and I think for that matter, it is notable that in the history of Namibia, since the 92, there were never a local authority councillor who have challenged his own council for taking a wrong decision. And it's notable that I was one of the first colleagues who have started teaching people that if you are taking a decision that is not right, people have to challenge these decisions and make sure that we do things the right from the word go.
I want to focus, just change the direction of the conversation a bit, and we look now at what is happening on the current council. We understand that there's no coalition agreement that has been signed. Having to advance the interests of the citizens or of the residents of the city, how concerning is it that such a thing is not in place?
It is very concerning, because you must also understand, we as Namibians need to understand one thing. When we were councillors, we have one party that were predominant. We were having a number of documentations that they are following. And I think the Namibian people have shown in the last elections that the policies that were put in place, people were not happy. That is why the people went to the elections to vote differently for today, for the first time in the history, that an opposition mayor is in office. Now, it is very difficult if you don't have a written agreement. And this written agreement, it has to ensure the residents that even if tomorrow the current mayor is not the mayor, but that what they have voted for will still remain there. Say, for example, we are having now the mayor from AR, and tomorrow, because elections is every year of mayors. Now, come December, the new mayor is now of PDA. But the policy need to be there. There must be a memorandum of understanding, a workable document that is in place that will help the residents, that also ensure the residents that, because it's the first time in the history where the city is run by a coalition. Now, if a coalition is not managed, it's not written, it's not binding. If the current mayor now from AR is no more the mayor, can we expect the same services to continue? Can we still hope that the council will work together as a unit to be able to deliver? Because the problem now is that we must understand that the way forward in the long run is that when we have coalition councils, we need to have a framework in place that will be able to assist local authorities to be able to run. Whoever, it shouldn't be scary to the Namibian people, whoever is the mayor. No, the problem is that the policies that are in place, are they for us as residents? Are they for us who have voted for these people into offices? And I think that is what need to be at play.
Want to come back to PDM. You mentioned something of now where you said that you were in the Katutira Kaura camp while there was also McHenry Venani camp. Do you think enough is being done within your party to bring people that would feel disenfranchised and that were not in support of the current party leader? Do you think enough is being done to bring all of those people back?
I think the current leadership have completely failed the institution. They have not bring in people that matters. You have seen how the party have performed in the last regional and local authority elections. At the moment, we are the second biggest political home in the country. But in terms of local government, we are one of the poorest performers of the previous election in terms of local authority. And
but you were part of a council. I mean, do you accept your fault in seeing the party's vote go down at local and regional
I think at the end of the day,
level?
the people who have been in running the affairs, I think, like I said, when you look at what is notable, what we have done as a council, where we, like I said, you remember when I mentioned it earlier that when you are 1 against 13 in a council, it's very difficult for you to be able to rise and shine. But I think we had a voice. We had a number of positive things that we have done as a council. We have a number of downfalls as a council that we couldn't agree also on some of the number of issues. But I think as a party, as a whole, we need to have a look at the accommodation of the people who have in different camps. What we are now expecting and anticipating is that we have what we have seen in the other paper the other day was Honorable Muarukwa versus Honorable Venani.
Yes.
For Kakamkam 2024. And if this thing is not manageable by the party to integrate members of the all sections, we will have a very serious problem, because after the elections, if you don't accommodate people from both teams and you have people that can make the difference, but you decided to shut them down, it's a very serious problem, because it doesn't help the party to grow, and eventually what you plant, that is the fruits that we normally will reap. So if you are not accommodating, if you are not showing the old faces, if you are not bringing the right tactics to the game, you will realize that the team will go down. And I think that was evident in the local authority elections, that if we have a heavyweight like Councillor Semba sitting here, who have been in the wrong, who have grown in the rank and file of politics, and people see you as a political person in their community. If they don't see your posters there, it affects obviously the morale and the work that you have done for the residents.
Thank you very much for joining us on the Evening Review.
You are welcome.
Thank you for tuning in. Please do stay tuned for the weather, and good night.